Hello and welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics, and today we have a great one. It's Legends #1. Let me set the stage. It's 1986. DC has just finished their epic Crisis on Infinite Earths limited series, which stretched from 1985 to 1986, and in it, they redefined the DC universe. They basically took a pair of scissors and cut and cut and cut and remade their multiverse, all of their various Earth 2, Earth 3, Earth Prime, all of these other Earths and all of these other characters were done away with in Crisis on Infinite Earths to streamline and simplify DC's continuity and make it easier for new readers to get involved. So now there was only one Superman, whereas before there was the Superman of Earth 2, the Superman of Earth 1. Earth 1 was the main DC universe. The Superboy of Earth Prime. All these things were done and gotten rid of so that fans could jump on more easily. So what do you do after you have a universe-changing, company-wide maxi series written by George Perez, written by Marv Wolfman and penciled by George Perez, that blows the doors off your universe and resets everything? You need to kind of flow into that and reintroduce your universe and your characters and get things moving again. So Legends was kind of a way for DC to do that. And we have here on the cover an indication of what our interiors are going to look like. We have an awesome John Byrne cover, and I believe it's colored by Tom Ziuko, the interior colorist, so it's in almost a painterly fashion. And we see it's a 6-part miniseries. John Ostrander is the writer, who's at this point a relative newcomer in comics, although an established playwright. Len Wein, a veteran, is also involved in the story. John Byrne is our penciler, and we'll see that Carl Kessel is our inker. The epic of the century starts right here. And just love this cover. We know there's no hiding here. Our main villain is Darkseid. And look at some of the protagonists we have. Not sure who this guy is. We're going to meet him in the book here. Or the large flaming fella. We're going to meet these characters. They're going to be new villains, new foes. But we've got Shazam, we've got Firestorm, Cosmic Boy from the Legion of Superheroes, Changeling, and Flash. Or is it the Flash? We'll see. Incredible splash page here of Apocalypse, the homeworld of Darkseid. And we have our title, Once Upon a Time. Beyond the brittle barriers of sanity, there is the planet Apocalypse. Here, where even miles-high columns of flame spewed ceaselessly by awesome energy pits fail to penetrate the eternal darkness, joy is unknown and hope is a capital offense. Here, there is no pride, there is no passion, there is no pity, there is only order, complete, absolute, immutable. Brilliant there. Exposition. John Ostrander is our plotter, Len Wein the scripter, so those were Len Wein's words there. John Byrne is the penciler, Carl Kessel is the inker. Steve Haney is listed as the letterer, Tom Ziuko the colorist, and Mike Gold is the editor. All right, so we have two familiar faces if you're a fan of DC Comics and Jack Kirby. We have Darkseid and his Svengali-like super scientist assistant Desaad. And Darkseid is overlooking the works on his planet, the dark works on his planet, and he is satisfied yet still restive. He still feels ill at ease, according to the word balloon here. You are clever, Desaad. Tell me why. Perhaps it is because all is not in order, Master, or have you so soon forgotten that irritating little planet called Earth? And Desaad brings up here the heroes of Earth have thwarted Darkseid numerous times, and so perhaps they are the thing that causes him to not feel like he has completed his work. Aye, to some these puny creatures are legends. Titular line there. The stories of their greatness inspiring others to greatness as well. Perhaps the time has come to strike at the core of the problem, to destroy the very concept of such legends. So here the game is given away. That's going to be the whole thrust of the 6-issue limited series. Darkseid is going to wage war on the heroes on several fronts. On a physical front, and we're going to see through these pages that he's going to wage war on them through the airwaves, and the perception, and the media, and the total the public view of these heroes. And he's got two more of his ready assistants here to help. We have Glorious Godfrey and Dr. Bedlam. They have arrived. And have you two now become mind readers as well? Hardly, your radiance. Desaad sent for us a short while ago. Oh, he did he? How convenient. So Desaad had kind of set this all up, and Darkseid knows that, but he lets it happen anyway because he wants it to happen. And here in this cool final panel, he sees the figure of Shazam that was depicted on the previous page. And when it is ended, there will be but one legend left on Earth, mine. So again, this idea of legends and the public perception of heroes is going to play heavily. Now we're going to flip to Earth and New York. And remember, there's only one Earth now. This is it for now for DC. The multiverse is trimmed down to just one Earth. We have Professor Martin Stein on loan from Vandermeer University in Pittsburgh. He is here at Star Labs in New York working on a nuclear reactor project with them. And something goes awry here. We have a bit of Kirby crackle, and you're going to see more of that as the series goes along. And the generator's gone berserk. It's sucking all the power in the entire facility. And my God, something is growing inside it. Something inhuman. And here we have the first appearance of one of our cover characters, Brimstone. Behold the fallen angel known as Brimstone. Gaze into my eyes, ye mighty, and despair. Little borrowing there from Shelley. This is madness. I've got to summon Firestorm. Because you see, if you're a DC aficionado, you know that Martin Stein combines with college student Ronnie Raymond to become the superhero, the nuclear-powered superhero Firestorm. Sort of similar to Captain Marvel and Rick Jones in Marvel's version of Captain Marvel. Here, Ronnie's in the shower back in Pittsburgh, and through their mental link, Martin Stein warns him, hey, I need you, and they both combine and show up here above the fray here in New York City as Brimstone, gigantic now, bursts out of the Star Labs facility. Holy smokes, what the heck is that? That's the reason I summoned you here, Ronald. It calls itself Brimstone. So they have a telepathic link, they can talk to each other, and it's great the way, and this has always been done this way with Firestorm. We can see their persona of Martin Stein speaking to Ronnie Raymond as they share the body of Firestorm. Cool ad here, actually coming up. Here's an ad for Legends, which we're holding in our hand right now, reading right now in a Detective Comics, which also contains a Legends crossover. There were a number of crossovers that went along with this, but we don't really need to cover those. We're going to cover Legends 1 through 6 on the show and go from there. So Firestorm sweeps in. His powers affect anything inorganic, but he quickly finds that Brimstone must have some living tissue or some living aspect to him, so his blasts are ineffective. Brimstone quickly grabs him. So fast for something so huge, it's not possible. How often in comics have we seen that? It's almost an inside joke. How could something so big move so fast? But anyway, Brimstone grabs Firestorm, closes his massive fist around him, and hurls him into the debris field here and stalks off, looking for more prey. Brimstone is definitely out of our league, Professor, and that may be the only way to stop him. So we have a bit of foreshadowing there with the word league. Are we going to see a Justice League? Does the Justice League even still exist in the post-crisis universe? Well, we'll find out later. While across the East River, in the crowded Manhattan financial district, commonly called the Wall Street, I'm warning you, Speedster, stay away from me. You really don't want to tangle with Deadshot. And this is the classic Marshall Rogers reimagining of the Deadshot uniform, and with his awesome wrist magnums and the really cool full headgear and the sight on his eye, just just a brilliant villain costume, or a costume in general. And we have him going against the Flash. But didn't the Flash die during Crisis on Infinite Earths? Didn't Barry Allen perish? We'll see. Deadshot, huh? I always thought your turf was Gotham City. Hey, I'm not a particular punk. I just go where the money is. The only place you're going is back behind bars, Flash says as he streaks toward him. And as Deadshot shoots at him, Flash picks up a steel pipe, and he swats the bullets aside with his uncanny speed. Deadshot dodges the ricocheting bullets, and as he does that, Flash closes in a beautiful action shot here, KOs Deadshot. And I have to stop a moment here and comment on the artwork on this series. Carl Kessel, in my mind, pound for pound, is the best inker on John Byrne. He's perfect. It's a perfect marriage of the two art styles. Kessel is an accomplished artist in and of himself, really excels as an inker, and we're going to see as we explore further how well Carl Kessel's inks dress up other artists' pencils. But what a great marriage between him and Byrne in this series. And really we can see it on display in every scene, whether it's a battle scene or a more quiet scene. And here he decks Deadshot. And now Flash thinks over the unconscious Deadshot. Ever since the Anti-Monitor's energy blast altered my body chemistry, thus curing the disease that was killing me every time I used my super speed, I haven't been able to run any faster than the speed of sound, and my stamina just isn't what it used to be. Still, I knew this job was dangerous when I took it. Okay, so this is not Barry Allen. This isn't the Flash who runs at the speed of light. This is Wally West, ex-Kid Flash, now Flash. But he's not as fast as even he used to be because of what he just explained here. He now has certain limitations placed on his speed. And I think this was kind of a theme. DC was trying to ground some of their more infinitely powerful heroes like the Flash, like Superman. Those characters coming out of Crisis on Infinite Earths were nerfed a little bit, depowered a little bit, perhaps in an effort to make them more relatable to the reader, dare I say, more Marvel-like. So Flash speeds away. He's got some troubling thoughts going on. And between this panel and the next, he obviously drops Deadshot off with the police. And now he's streaking toward his old home base, Titan's Tower. Who's Who? I covered that in a previous episode. Did a little comparison between Who's Who and the official handbook of the Marvel Universe. And you can check that in the video library of Scott Reed's comics. Little ad for the Vigilante Annual with great Ross Andrew artwork. Tony DiZanuga, another great anchor. Okay, so Flash is speeding towards Titan's Tower. Meanwhile, in Titan's Tower, we have Changeling in his monk. He can change into any animal that he can think of. So he's in the form of a monkey here, eating what looks like Oreo cookies. Watching Billy Batson, of all people, has a talk show, and he has on a guest, Gordon Godfrey. And Godfrey is a bit of a demagogue, as we'll find out, maybe more than a bit. And I'd like to thank you for having me here today, Mr. Batson, to discuss a problem that ultimately affects us all, the menace of the so-called superheroes who live like a ticking time bomb in our very midst. So here, this is obviously Glorious Godfrey posing as a normal human, even though he is a new god. And he is using his incredible Svengali-like powers of persuasion to start to wage a public relations war against Earth's heroes. Flash shows up. Enjoying yourself, Changeling? Well, let me put it to you this way, Wally, old pal. All things considered, I'd rather be watching a McLean Stevenson retrospective. So how are you doing? You look like God just caught you stealing his hubcaps. Pretty interesting bit of dialogue there. Oh, it's nothing in particular, Gar. Just another exciting episode of my ongoing identity crisis. So, throughout this series, characters are going to wrestle with whether they should be a hero, whether they should be the hero they are, or a different hero, or whether they should be a hero at all. And old friends Wally West and Gar Logan are kind of chatting about, hey, well, it's so hard to live up to the legend of Barry Allen, the Flash. Changeling suggests just be another speedster, change your name completely. But Wally sort of cautious about that, unwilling to, because he realizes that if he does let that name go, he's letting a legacy go. So that's something a theme that's gonna play out throughout this series, not only with him but with some other characters, and we're about to meet another one here. On the set of the very show they were watching, Billy Batson is still with Glorious Godfrey, or G. Gordon Godfrey. Keep cool, everyone. It's only a momentary blackout. Oh yeah, in this previous panel, we saw that the show went off the air suddenly. Now we're in the studio. No, I just heard the whole building is under attack. Some sort of costume giant ripped the transmission antenna right off the roof. So is this Brimstone? We'll find out. Billy Batson quickly slips away, realizes that he is uniquely qualified to investigate what's going on by shouting the magical word Shazam, to call down the magical lightning that transforms young newscaster Billy Batson into the world's mightiest mortal, Captain Marvel. Now to see what all the hubbub is about. And we see he was not unwashed when he did that. We see Godfrey smiling that butcher's grin here. Perfect, the master will be pleased. And can I just say that Byrne and Kessel just crush their drawing of Captain Marvel. What a visually stunning character, and you're going to see in the pages ahead that they really do him justice. But no, it's not Brimstone attacking the studio building. It's yet another new villain called the Macro Man. And this character, just really great design. Byrne excels at drawing this techno fantasy armor, and Karl Kesel, as the finisher of these pencils, really brings it home. What a stunningly cool super foe for a super strong character like Shazam to face. He's big, he's menacing, he's got the cool helmet, almost Galactus looking, and just a really sweet looking design on Macro Man there. And here, Shazam has no trouble wading right in. He knocks him right back up onto the roof, and we see the telltale water tower there, which is so cool. Great shot there of that knockback reaction. That punch knocked Macro Man clear back up to the building's roof. And the power of Zeus will help me keep him off balance. Not sure how the strength of Hercules and the power of Zeus aren't really the same thing in terms of how they manifest in Shazam, but it's fun. Until I can use the wisdom of Solomon to figure out what to do with him. So now, as we're going to the next page, we have a multi-page insert on Mask, which was a set of adventure toys in other products with the Mask label in 1986. They had a cartoon as well, I believe. Pretty cool, like transforming toys. This is a workman-like couple-page comic from Joey Cavalieri and Jose Delbo, the penciler. You can get yourself some Mask underoos here. They really went all out. There were a lot of products related to Mask. Tennis shoes. I mean, someone just sold it completely out to this. Mask gym bag. Yeah, sign me up for that one. Sheets, sleeping bags, tents, Halloween costumes, the big wheel. Yeah. There was even a board game, which I had no idea until I revisited this comic. Parker Brothers. Nice. And finally, the actual toys themselves, which were kind of cool. All right, back to our story. Enough, Macro Man shouts and backhands in a really cool panel. Backhands Shazam away. Throck. You're strong, little one, I'll grant you that. But nothing that lives is a match for Macro Man. Holy moly, gotta move before, too late. Not even the speed of Mercury could save me now. So he grabs Captain Marvel and he's, slash Shazam, and he's literally crushing him in his grip. And basically forcing Billy Batson slash Shazam into one course of action. Only one possible way to save myself. He shouts the magic word, Shazam, hoping that the lightning will stun the Macro Man and into freeing him. Once again, a bolt of magic lightning streaks down from the cloudless sky. But this time, as well as bringing salvation, it brings sizzling, incendiary death. Kablam! Awesome shot here with the lightning hitting the Macro Man, freeing Shazam, who's now transformed back into Billy Batson, but consuming the Macro Man. Holy moly, the magic lightning struck Macro Man as well and set him afire, and he falls from the building rooftops spectacularly to the street below. Dear Lord, what have I done? My power just murdered that man. So now we have a crisis of faith going on here with Shazam. Faith in himself is lost because he's just been responsible for the death of someone. But meanwhile, my favorite part of this comic is coming up. The Pentagon, Washington, D.C. Down these immaculate corridors stride those who have devoted their lives to the service of this great nation, and few of them more honorably than this man. And we see on the door here in this fateful panel, Task Force X. So if you don't know what Task Force X is, we're going to find out as we read through this series. And very exciting for me. So let's keep going. Colonel Rick Flag reporting as ordered. Come in and close it behind you, Colonel. You're Amanda Waller. You see anyone else in the room? Yeah, this is definitely going to be a fun relationship. Look, let's get one thing straight right up front, lady. When I learned Task Force X was being reactivated and I had myself assigned here, this isn't exactly what I was expecting. Well, life is just full of little surprises, Colonel, such as Task Force X's first candidates. We see a hand just off panel here, a distinctive hand gesturing towards these dossiers of various individuals. Flag picks them up and he's looking at them. What? Come on, you can't be serious. Are you out of your cotton-picking mind, lady? And then suddenly, here it is, the big reveal, Amanda Waller. Frankly, I couldn't be more serious, Colonel. And by the way, if you ever again call anything about me cotton-picking, mister, I'll stuff those bright, shiny eagles on your shoulders so far up your butt, they'll be able to nest in your skull. We clear on that? And slightly cowed, but maybe impressed, Flag says, perfectly. So here we have our first Amanda Waller. And if you haven't read the Suicide Squad comics, you've hopefully seen the movies, the second movie being my preferred of the two. Task Force X is going to lead to Suicide Squad, and they are going to eventually debut in this series, and it's going to be totally awesome, and we're going to get to it as we go along through the issues. So here we have her explaining further to Rick Flag how it's going to be. Look, Colonel, we've got a job to do here, and I was told you were the man to do it. The question isn't whether you like the job, or me, or any of the others I've chosen. The only thing that matters is can you do the job well? If not, tell me now, so I can find someone who can. No man or woman alive can do it better, Miss Waller. For your information, I have never allowed my personal opinions to interfere with the performance of my duty, and I don't intend to start now. Are we clear on that, lady? Love this panel here where it's a shortcut by Byrne, but I love it when he does these shortcuts from time to time because this isolation on Amanda Waller's head is just brilliant here. Clear as Mississippi mud, Colonel Flag. Now what say we get down to cases? Task Force X may be needed a lot sooner than I'd thought. So, in a world where potentially heroes become persona non grata, where they're no longer welcome, who will step in to fill the void? Well, could it be Task Force X? We shall see, and who will they be? A couple of great house ads here for a couple of DC annuals. Tales of the Teen Titans with the debut of the Vanguard. Pretty cool, rare almost Ed Hannigan interior art because he didn't do a ton for DC especially. And then Tales of the Legion of Superheroes annual with some Giffen and Kessel interior artwork, which is pretty good. I've got this one. Okay, so now we switch to another area of our story here, and we have a Cosmic Boy who is a member of the Legion of Superheroes from the 30th century, vacationing in the 20th century Earth here, really enjoying the local coffee, while his girlfriend, Night Girl, who also is vacationing with him from the 30th century, is doing some shopping. His comfortable morning routine is broken up by some mayhem, as we once again see Brimstone on the scene. Cosmic Boy loses his trench coat and streaks into action. Awesome here, using his Legion flight ring. Good God, look at the size of that thing. It dwarfs Validus. Validus, the most powerful member of the Fatal Five and one of the Legion's deadliest foes. Makes the Infinite Man seem more like an infant by comparison. Another old Legion foe, the Infinite Man. So, another false god is come to tempt the wrath of Brimstone. But you will learn soon. You will all learn. Brimstone serves an angry god. So Cosmic Boy's formidable magnetic powers are going to meet their match against Brimstone here. He tries to use some debris to stun him, knock him down maybe, but Brimstone is just too powerful. And he knocks a whole building into Cosmic Boy, and Cosmic Boy is barely able to use his powers to shield himself. And he thinks to himself as he's doing so, "Gotta use my magnetic power to repel the falling rebel, even as I roll out of its path, or I'm gonna wind up dying 1,000 years before I was even born." And then suddenly from off panel, "You need a helping hand, fella? Who?" Cosmic Boy turns and looks. And I'll get back to this in a second here, but I want to finish the story of issue 1. What an incredible double-page spread of the Justice League Detroit version. And we have, this was as the Justice League was constituted pre-crisis, and all these characters did survive the crisis. So Firestorm has gathered them to face down Brimstone. We have Vibe, Elongated Man, Vixen, Martian Manhunter looking absolutely incredible under Byrne and Kessel's artwork here. Gypsy and Steel, along with, of course, Firestorm. Well, you're not exactly the Legion, but boy, am I glad you're here. So yeah, we've got the Justice League showing up to take on Brimstone and help out a beleaguered Cosmic Boy. And finally, quick wrap up here, our last page of this story. While we see back at the scene of Macro Man, who fell off the broadcast building earlier when he was battling Shazam. "God, what a mess. Why do these things always happen on my beat?" this cop says. "Yuck, how gross. Smells like a burned skunk." "Anyone see what happened to Goliath here? He plummeted out of the sky like some sort of fallen angel." Great use of language there. "Hey, I saw what happened. This fella was incinerated up on that roof by the guy in the bright red suit." "He was murdered by Santa Claus?" the cop asks. Dear God, it's true, Billy Batson thinks as he's overseeing from up high what's going on. "I didn't do it on purpose, but that still doesn't change what I did. Captain Marvel is responsible for the death of Macro Man, and that means I must never become Captain Marvel again. Never again!" First blood to Darkseid. Next month, things get worse. Breach of faith. Be here. And we see the laughing image of Darkseid above Batson as he slinks away, lost in his own thoughts and feelings of guilt. What an incredible first issue, an incredible setup. And to cap it all off, we have an ad for Batman Year One. So, I mean, this is just phenomenal. Coming out of Crisis, we get this, and then perhaps on the other end of the spectrum, but equally and maybe even more brilliant, we're going to have Batman Year One, which is Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli's just magnum opus Batman story. So great ad for that. Flipping back a couple pages real quickly. I'm not going to go through it in detail here, but just a tremendous 2-page little write-up about the story behind Legends and why this 6-issue limited series needed to happen in the eyes of DC's editors. And Mike Gold, the editor of this book, does a really good job of explaining why this series was important to do. And it's great. He touches on why they assembled the crew they did to do it. Byrne, Kessel, Len Wein, the scripter, Ostrander, the plotter, his first real comic work, I think, or some of his first real comic work. A great little intro into what you'll be getting for the next 5 issues after this first one. And here's a cool color ad for the Mazzucchelli Miller Batman Year One. He's strong, smart, and relentless, shrewd and almost infallible, a brilliant scientist, a cunning and powerful fighter, the best detective the world has ever seen, the very best. Ever wonder what price he paid? Coming soon, Batman Year 1, Batman Year 2. So they even plug Year 2 here as well. So that is Legends Issue 1 by Ostrander, Wayne, Byrne, and Kessel. And I will be going through in order on the show the remaining issues in the limited series. And I just can't wait to share it with you. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and I'll bring you more content soon. Thanks for watching. This has been Scott Reads Comics.